Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Lauren, and today we have Eric on the show, who's selling an Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Eric, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Great. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to provide some more insights on our business and how Amazon FBA works for us.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to learning more about that. And thanks again for taking the time to come on the show. But before we dive in, I'm going to give the listeners a brief summary of your business. As I mentioned, this is an Amazon FBA business. It was created in November 2018, and it's in the kitchenware niche. The average revenue for the business is $77,201 per month, and it makes an average of $16,632 per month in net profit. The assets included with the business are an Amazon Seller Central account with 35 SKUs, a Shopify account, a primary domain and all site content and files, supplier relationships, a trademark, an internal portal for managing operations, a Canadian warehouse lease, and Facebook and Instagram social media accounts. Please note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to verified buyers. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 62480 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that we know more about the business, let's hear from the seller. Eric, can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure. So starting in 2018 November, I think Amazon was kind of picking up, and I saw a lot of people talking about it. So I decided to take a dip in and see how I would fare running an FBA business. And really, we started off with a very small initial investment, one SKU, $5,000, just for the product and for the freight. And it just took off from there. Organically, we grew, and now we've grown to over 35 SKUs and all of the specifications you mentioned before.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's a great success story. What attracted you to selling these products in particular?
So as a consumer, I was looking to furnish my apartment, and I was browsing Amazon. And while I was looking for the products, I found a lot of products, but nothing that really spoke to me in the kitchenware category. There were a lot of cheap products from Amazon, but nothing really, I would say, modern and even bohemian styled products. So from there, we thought maybe we could actually provide these products to customers and give them a different niche on Amazon, which is essentially what inspired us to start this business in this category.
Yeah, that's fantastic. There's nothing better than solving a problem of your own through your own business, which is wonderful. When you were thinking about starting this business, did you immediately want to start an FBA business, or did you explore options like Shopify or Walmart?
I actually started this business when I was in school. So FBA seemed like the only logical option to me because it allowed me to scale the business from my apartment. Instead of having to manage all the complexities of a full supply chain, I could essentially do most of my work from my computer, do all the supply chain operation stuff, but not actually have to touch the inventory. So that's kind of what attracted me to the FBA model.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful help for sellers, definitely a big draw card. I believe you've branched out into a small amount of wholesale revenue as well. Could you walk me through that?
Yeah, wholesale has actually been a bright spot in our business, and it's definitely a growing aspect. Through our organic growth on Amazon, a lot of wholesalers actually reach out to us directly through our Shopify store, looking to wholesale our products or even brand their labels onto our products and turn it into their products. So it was mainly organic, and it allowed us to essentially create a new revenue source and not be so dependent on Amazon.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful way to diversify. As you mentioned, you've experienced a lot of success with this business. It's certainly come a long way since you started it. What are the reasons you've decided to sell the business now?
One of the main reasons for us selling the business is that our three core owners, we all still in school or coming out of school, and we all work on this brand part-time. So one of the issues with part-time is that it makes it difficult to keep growing it when we have other commitments outside of life. So I can't speak for my other two partners, but for me personally, I have a full-time day job and it's very strenuous in terms of time commitment to my day job. So allowing someone else to grow it and scale it would be the best choice for us moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's amazing that you were able to start the business while you were studying as well. Looking back on your journey with the business, what would you say was your biggest win since starting the business?
I think our biggest win is definitely product selection. A lot of our growth has been simply just organic growth. We spend very little on PPC and we don't really spend much on advertising in general. So in particular, I think us as a brand, we have a strong product offering that is not seasonal or very fad based. It's very consistent, staple products that has allowed us to grow our business organically, which is, in my opinion, a big win for us because with very little capital upfront, we needed to rely more on just organic growth instead of advertising and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding those evergreen products that will sell year round are fantastic. Flip side of the coin, what would you say was your biggest setback or challenge?
Actually, in 2021, we started a Canadian warehouse. So all of us are based in Toronto, Canada. And we thought maybe expanding into a warehouse would allow us to grow into new wholesale deals and allow us greater control of our inventory. But I think we greatly underestimated what it takes to run a warehouse. So that definitely came with its own challenges with like learning how to pack your products into Amazon, how to get pallets, how to manage just the physical operations from the warehouse instead of actually just using a 3PL service. However, I think we've actually addressed this issue pretty well. Our warehouse lease is about to end soon, and we are looking to move it all into a 3PL, which would greatly reduce the operational and even improve the margins moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a steep learning curve when it comes to maintaining your own warehouse. You mentioned that a lot of your traffic comes to you organically. Do you use PPC or listing description SEO to also help drive traffic to your products?
We do use a little bit of the Amazon PPC program. It's mainly for new products with very little reviews. It's very hard to drive traffic organically. But once the listings are up and running and generating sales, we typically actually turn off the PPCs to help improve our margins. So I would say in terms of PPC, the use is very minimal.
Okay, great. Yeah. And do you do any social media marketing over and above that?
Social media marketing, we do have some social media accounts. We have about 1,500 followers on Instagram, but I would say it hasn't been a great focus for our business, or it hasn't really been a source of revenue generating or even lead generating for business. I think a lot of it has just been organic growth, whether it be wholesalers reaching out or even Shopify sales. These are all things that have all kind of happened organically without much significant time invested into marketing.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Eric, what would you see as the major opportunities for growth with this business?
So moving forward, I think I see three main avenues of growth for the business. We're in the process of moving to the UK Amazon. So we currently sell in Amazon Canada and Amazon US. However, an Amazon brand manager has helped us migrate our listings to Amazon UK, transferred our reviews, transferred all our descriptions and pictures and whatnot. The only remaining step is getting our VAT number. We currently have it approved. We're just waiting for the HMRC to publish our VAT number. So that's definitely an instant win for the business, I think, once it gets started. For reference, for Canada, it generated about 300,000 US in the trailing 12 months. So since the UK is a bigger marketplace, I would expect similar growth to the business once Amazon UK is up and running. Another source of growth that's possible is essentially growing our existing product line. So we currently do have a lot of SKUs and a lot of them were launched in mid 2021. However, without the knowledge for PPC and marketing, we weren't able to grow all of them as effectively as some of the organic ones that have exploded in terms of growth. So spending some time and nurturing those listings could result in significant growth and a fuller product line where all 35 SKUs are generating a lot of revenue instead of maybe a subset of 1/3 or 1/2. And lastly, I would say, not the most, but one source of growth could be operationally. Operationally, things can always be streamlined, things can always be improved. For us in particular, freight prices are going down, and negotiating with freight forwarders and suppliers is something we're always focused on. So bringing down the cost of goods is one of the most important things for an FBA business, because it allows you to maximize your profit margins. And that's somewhere where I can see a lot of growth to be had, whether it be optimizing the 3PL process, optimizing deals with freight forwarders, and negotiating with suppliers for larger orders and reduced pricing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It certainly sounds like there are some good quick wins and a lot of potential that buyers can capitalize on there. Turning now to your inventory and supply chain, can you walk me through what your supply chain looks like? Where are your suppliers based, and how does inventory get from them to Amazon?
Sure. So our suppliers are all based in China, and our inventory is stored across in multiple places, whether it be supplier warehouses, on the boat with the freight forwarders, in our Canadian warehouse, or in our US 3PL. The way the supply chain works is we would place purchase orders with our suppliers, and this would be done, I would say, monthly to maybe 6-week basis, so 4 to 6 week basis. And we would place the orders, and every 3 to 4 weeks, we would place a direct shipment from China directly to our Amazon US warehouse and Amazon Canadian warehouse. So all the suppliers would aggregate their products or the products we've purchased into the freight forwarder, and the freight forwarder would deliver it directly from China to the Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, fantastic. It sounds like you've got a pretty good streamlined process there, got a good handle on it all. How long does it normally take to replenish your inventory?
Typically, the lead time for suppliers would range from 15 days to 20 days. And for some other products, it might be 40 to 45. So there's two groups of products where the harder to manufacture ones need a little bit more lead time, and the easier to manufacture products might take 15 to 20. In terms of getting the product from China directly into the Amazon warehouse, I would say the sea freight takes around 45 to 50 days. Obviously, it could be a little faster depending on if the timing is right and the boat is departing, or if you have to wait for a later boat, it might take a little longer. But I think 45 to 50 days. So in total, I would say around 2 to 3 months for the product to get from China, like from order to completion to sending it overseas into an Amazon warehouse.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that was a great breakdown. Thank you. And do you know what your current inventory limits are at Amazon warehouses?
Yes, currently in the US, we don't have any inventory limits. However, in Canada, we have an inventory limit of 2,900.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you mentioned that this is a part-time job for you. You do have a full-time job that you run above this. So what does a typical work week look like for you when running this business? How many hours does it take up, and what sort of activities take up your time?
Currently, we have, I would say, 3 main people working on the business. It's myself, Christy, and another girl called Joyce. Myself, I'm actually fairly passive on the business now. I would spend, I would say, 30 minutes at most adjusting PPC campaigns we have weekly, and that would be about the extent of my time spent. For Christy, she manages a lot of the supplier and freight forwarder communications. So this would be following up with suppliers on how the POs are progressing, following up with freight forwarders on how shipments are progressing, and scheduling them with the freight forwarders or 3PL and whatnot. So I'd say this would take on average 2 to 3 hours a week. However, it could be less depending on how busy the week is. So on a busy week, it would be 2 to 3 hours. And then we have Joyce. She handles the finances and accounting. And that would be things like writing checks, paying our suppliers, or collecting our receivables. And this role is more of a routine role. And I would say it takes around 1 to 2 hours a week.
Okay, perfect. So Eric, what do you think the biggest challenge will be for a buyer taking over this business?
Yes. So with every buyer, I think it comes with a different set of problems. Some buyers are stronger operationally, while some buyers have more expertise in marketing or PPC campaigns. I do think operationally it is fairly simple. There are not so many moving parts, and you don't actually need to touch the inventory that much. So it's more of getting onboarded onto the business and knowing how the procedures that are set in place work and just expanding on them. So from that front, I think it's fairly simple, even if the buyer is not an expert in operations. However, maybe one aspect that may be challenging is finding new products to launch in the brand. Again, if a buyer is an expert at like product research, product development, this might not be an issue, but I think we as a group have built an expertise in product development and product research, and that's something that may be a challenge for some buyers.
Yeah, well, with that in mind, how much support are you willing to offer buyers to help ease that transition?
We've had some talks with some buyers, and we're open to all kinds of levels of support. So if the buyer wants 1 month and that's it, and they want to just handle it from there, we're okay with that. However, we're happy to provide up to 6 months or even stay on board for up to a year if the buyer is interested, and that's what's necessary to help a smooth transition for the business.
Yeah, wonderful. I think that's a very generous offer, and buyers will be very reassured by that. When it comes time to actually negotiating the sale, would you be open to something like an earnout?
Yes, I think an earnout makes sense. Obviously, cash upfront is always better, but an earnout makes sense from a buyer perspective where it helps them with some stability and ensuring that the business is able to transition from us to them in a smooth, consistent manner. So definitely open to negotiating some type of earnout.
Fantastic. And would you commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes, that also makes sense. The buyer would definitely like to protect all the IP and all the knowledge that's been built up. And we would ideally like to transfer all our knowledge to the buyer. And a non-compete makes sense in our minds.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Eric, that leads us into the final question of the interview, and probably the most important one, which is, if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I think our business is worth buying because there is still a lot of growth and scale to be had. Currently, a lot of the growth has been organic and through selective product selection, product research, and care for the products. But I think there's a lot of growth to be had with PPC, marketing, and even just more capital to invest in the business. As smaller sellers, that's something we lacked throughout growing our business, and we believe that selling our business to a larger company would allow our business to actually grow linearly, if not exponentially. So definitely think that there's a lot of growth and scale to be had left for the business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
Nope. I think the questions covered everything, and it was great chatting with you.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Eric, for coming on the show and giving us some more information about you and your business. I certainly learned a lot, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 62480. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.